What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here, and welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus check update, what's going on in the United States, Washington, D.C., money, investing, and the next stimulus package, the $3.5 trillion stimulus package, which will be the largest stimulus package yet to date. Lots of different things to discuss in this video. We'll be hearing from the White House, a White House interview on the next stimulus package. Very interesting information there regarding Joe Manchin and the next stimulus package. A very interesting interview discussing what is going on with the next stimulus package. Multiple different things to discuss. How there could be a new tax on average everyday Americans regarding the infrastructure package that could affect you. Yeah, lots of different things to discuss in this video. So if you're new to the channel, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe down below. Remember, new videos come out here on our channel every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will keep you up to date with everything going on in our country, as well as this next stimulus package, which will be the largest stimulus package yet to date. If you find these videos helpful, don't forget to hit the like button for us down below, and let's jump right in. Washington test drives a new driving fee. Check this out. Tucked into the new bipartisan infrastructure package, the physical infrastructure package, in Congress is a provision that would green light for the first time, a national pilot program for vehicle miles traveling fee. Yeah. So again, tucked into the bipartisan infrastructure package in Congress is a provision that would green light for the first time a new national pilot program for a vehicle miles traveling fee, aka a new tax. Charging Americans for road upkeep based on how many miles they've driven has long been relegated to the dustbin of policy. Intriguing ideas that are too politically toxic, like raising the gas tax. A per mile fee for vehicles is sporadically floated and quickly squashed, as Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg discovered earlier this year when, just weeks into the job, he stepped on a political landmine for suggesting the idea shows promise. Something that Republicans want to do, but President Biden has tried to step around that landmine, as he says that he's not going to raise taxes on anybody making below $400,000. And he's trying to hold true to that promise, but it's pretty tricky to do. But the concept is poised to get a significant boost in the infrastructure plan moving through Washington that has passed the Senate and is waiting to be voted on in the House, as the $3.5 trillion stimulus package is coming first in the House. Tucked into the legislation is a provision that would create a national test of replacing the current gasoline tax that's already in place with a per mile fee for the first time ever. So yeah, there is a current gasoline tax that many people don't even realize is there, has been there for many, many years, and replacing it with a per mile fee instead for the first time ever. It's an acknowledgement that despite concerns about privacy, because they'd have to figure out how many miles you're driving, a vehicle miles traveled fee could be the most logical successor to the current gasoline tax, which feels part of the nation's transportation spending paid at the pump. The federal gas tax, which has not been raised since 1993, most people don't even realize that there is a federal gas tax that's been in effect since 1993, and it's part of the gas taxes that you pay when you go to buy gas, and it's been there since 1993, along with state gas taxes that states have on top of your gasoline when you go to buy, has been steadily losing ground as vehicles become more fuel efficient and because there's electric vehicles out on the road right now. But as car makers produce more and more electric vehicles, like Tesla, General Motors, and more car makers are saying that by 2025 and by 2030, they want to have a significant portion of their vehicles be, or new vehicles be, electric vehicles. Well, gasoline tax will become less and less and less because people won't be buying gasoline as much. They'll be plug in their cars in at home or at electrical vehicle stations. So the government might be switching from a gasoline tax to a per mile tax, but how they would calculate how many miles you're driving is a bit of a quandary, because how are they going to do that? And is that a privacy concern? Does the government have any business knowing how many miles you drive unless you report it on your tax return and write off those miles as a business expense? Yeah, so that's the problem with this. They do have some legislation in this physical infrastructure package that they could enact later on. We'll have to see how this comes to play. If it passes in its current form, remember the House can change the physical infrastructure package. The House and the Senate have to pass the same bill with the same wording. So if this comes to pass and they replace the gasoline tax with a per mileage tax, well, then we'll dive deeper into it and see how it's going to work and what will happen with it. So stay tuned. I'll keep you in touch with if it happens and how it'll work. Now, check out this interview from White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain, who discusses the next $3.5 trillion stimulus package. Senator Joe Manchin, how Senator Joe Manchin says he's not sure what he wants to do with this next stimulus package, and he discusses what they're going to do with him, how they're going to work with him, and ultimately what is going to happen with him, and the strategy for the next stimulus package. Check this out. Very interesting interview.
The bipartisan infrastructure plan passed the U.S. Senate, and the House adopted a rule for its ultimate passage later in September.
But this is very specific.
And the reconciliation bill, the reconciliation bill, both the House and Senate have adopted the budget structure to pass it, and the House is now in committee markups this week and next week.
How are you going to convince Joe Manchin?
We're going to continue. We've worked with Senator Manchin at every step of the way. He's been a partner of our administration. He has strong views. Others have views. We're going to work together to find a way to put together a package that can pass the House, that can pass the Senate, that can be put on the president's desk and signed into law.
Is he convincible? I mean, you read that. He's very specific, saying that he's worried that that price tag or even something close to that is too difficult to pass because of the debt and even because of inflation. Is that something that's
I think that's
movable?
why he's very persuadable, because of course this package adds nothing to the debt. Nothing to the debt. It is fully paid for by raising taxes on wealthy people. We've had people become billionaires during the pandemic. They should pay their fair share of taxes. We've had 55 big corporations pay nothing in taxes, though they have record profits. If we raise taxes on the big corporations who aren't paying, raise taxes on people using international loopholes, raise taxes on the wealthy who are not paying their fair share, we can pay for every one of those investments in the package without a penny of taxes on people making under $400,000 a year, and without a penny being added to the long-term federal debt. In fact, passing these tax changes, making the people who aren't paying pay their fair share, collecting taxes from people who owe them and are dodging taxes by using loopholes, using lawyers and accountants, collecting those taxes will make our tax system fairer, make middle-class people share less of the burden, and can help bring down our debt in the long run. So I think Senator Manchin's concerns about inflation, about debts, those are concerns we can address with the provisions of this package itself.
Yeah, so that was White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain in part of a much larger, longer interview. I thought that was very interesting because they're talking about Senator Joe Manchin. You know, Joe Manchin always seems to be he's an attention seeker. Always wants to be. He does a lot of interviews. He always wants to be the attention person that, hey, look at me. He's always in the media whenever these packages come up, the physical infrastructure package, the third stimulus check package, the fourth stimulus package. He always wants to be the center of attention, Senator Joe Manchin. So, and he did this with the third stimulus check package, literally right up until the last moment. It was like, hey, look at me. I'm Senator Joe Manchin, So, but eventually he did vote yes, along with all the Democrats in the Senate in 99. There was one Democrat from the House of Representatives who voted no on the third stimulus check package. And all the Democrats from the House and the Senate voted yes on the motions to proceed. in the House and the Senate to unlock the budget reconciliation process, which is basically the motions to proceed and the motion to move forward with the $3.5 trillion stimulus package first in the House and with the budget reconciliation process before the physical infrastructure package first. So that was really good news because that meant that the stimulus package is coming first. So ultimately, I think Senator Joe Manchin is just doing a little bit of grandstanding, and whether they're going to have to give him some concessions, grease his palms a little bit. Ultimately, I think he will say yes. Whether they have to come down on the package a little bit, there are some other moderate Democrats like Kirsten Sinema from Arizona. She did the same thing as well with the last stimulus package. I don't know, they're kind of a duo. There's a few moderates in the House that aren't really as bad as those two. They can have the 2 or 3 Democrats from the House say no in the package, but they can't have any Democrats from the Senate say no. So basically, what happens is if Joe Manchin says he's going to say no, they basically have to set him aside and say, okay, well, you're the only guy saying no, Joe. What will you say yes to? Basically, every other Democrat is saying yes. You're the only one. So, what will you say yes to? Everybody else is saying yes. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine be like, listen, there's a whole room full of people that are voting yes, and you're the only one. There's millions of people waiting on a massive, massive stimulus package. The whole economy is waiting on it, and you're the only one, Joe. I, yeah, just imagine that. Now, in all fairness, I don't know if I could say the only one because all the Republicans are voting no. So there is that fact. If we're just like being fair, if we're just clearing the air here, just so everybody's aware of everything here. Remember, all the Republicans voted no on the third stimulus check package. Not a single Republican voted yes. And not a single Republican is going to vote yes on this fourth stimulus check package. Also, the White House Chief of Staff makes a very, very interesting point, very clear point there. I've said this too as well. This next stimulus package, this $3.5 trillion stimulus package, and this physical infrastructure package, that $1.2 trillion stimulus physical infrastructure package, both of those packages are very different than the previous 3 stimulus check packages, 2 from former President Donald Trump and 1 from President Biden, the third stimulus check package. All 3 of those, nobody paid for. They just went to the national debt. And I say nobody paid for because in essence, the common taxpayer, the average everyday American, in essence, didn't pay for it because the national government already runs a deficit, meaning the government already spends more than they take in. Okay. So the government already spends more than they take in. And then they had those 3 stimulus packages on top of that. 2 from a Republican president, 1 from a Democratic president. So Republican or Democrat, it really doesn't matter. We're in a pandemic. Both presidents are just trying to do whatever they can to get us out of this pandemic. And now we got this next stimulus package. But this next stimulus package and this next infrastructure package, the infrastructure package is support by Republicans and Democrats. The stimulus package is going to be passed by Democrats only. But these next 2 packages are different than the 3 packages before. That those packages just went on the national deficit. Okay. Nobody paid for them because the government already spends more than they take in, and those basically just went on the national deficit. Nobody paid for them because they didn't raise any taxes. They didn't raise taxes on corporations or people. They basically just said, we got to pass these right now. It's an emergency. Just pass them. There's no taxes raised. These next 2 packages are very, very different. You heard the White House Chief of Staff there say, these next 2 packages are going to be fully paid for, or when the Congressional Budget Office comes down to it, the Congressional Budget Office is going to go through and analyze it. They're going to be either fully paid for or almost fully paid for. The Congressional Budget Office did an analysis of the physical infrastructure package, and it was like almost fully paid for. But we had a Republican senator on the show that gave an interview, and he said, yeah, I know that the congressional, this is a Republican senator, and Republicans are more, they care more about the deficit than Democrats do. That's just kind of the way it is. Democrats are more about spend more and more and more, and Republicans are more fiscally conscious right now. And that's just a generalization, really. But this Republican senator said, yeah, I know the Congressional Budget Office says that it wasn't fully paid for, but there's a lot of items in there that the Congressional Budget Office doesn't give us full credit for, like leftover stimulus money that we're using from the Republican governors that opted out of that unemployment benefit, the unemployment benefits that these Republican governors states opted out of. There's billions of dollars there that is leftover stimulus money from those unemployment benefits. They're using that money because there's billions of dollars that's sitting there left over unused. They're using that for the physical infrastructure package. So the Congressional Budget Office, that's just one example, didn't give them that in the Congressional Budget Office report, but they're using that. So really, when it all comes down to it, the physical infrastructure package is going to be like either 100% paid for or very, very close. And the same thing is going to be probably for the $3.5 trillion stimulus package when all is said and done. When they actually write up the bill and everything is paid for, we'll see what the Congressional Budget Office says. But it'll probably be close to paid for or fully paid for. So inflation shouldn't really be a concern if everything comes down to what they say from what they're telling us, okay? Remember, the physical infrastructure package is backed by Republicans and Democrats. Remember, Mitch McConnell, the leader of the Republicans in the Senate, was one of the 19 senators from the Republican side that signed on with that. Now, Republican leader from the House, Kevin McCarthy, is not in favor of that. He's not in favor of the stimulus bill either. Not a single Republican is in favor of this $3.5 trillion stimulus package. So not a single Republican from the House or the Senate is going to vote yes on this fourth stimulus package, and not a single Republican voted yes on the third stimulus check package, which is kind of weird because Republicans were for stimulus when they had control of the Senate and when former President Donald Trump was in there for the second stimulus check package. When we go back to as early as December, okay, so former President Donald Trump was in there in his very last month in December. Remember, Biden came in January. So in Trump's last month of being president in December, that's when they passed the second stimulus check package. So after he lost the election in November, December, they passed the second stimulus check package, and Mitch McConnell was still leader of the Senate. They passed the second stimulus check package in December, and then Biden comes in January, and then a month later, they're like, we don't want any more stimulus. So I don't know. I really just feel like they're kind of just rebelling against the Democrats because they wanted more stimulus in December, but then in January, they don't want any more stimulus. But realistically, the economy is doing terrible. I mean, this August jobs report just came out. It was terrible. We only created 235,000 new jobs for the entire country, with 335 million or 330 some million people for the whole country. Yeah. Unemployment is still a 350,000 people per week on average, new people filing for unemployment. We have more people filing for unemployment per week, 350,000 people per week are filing for unemployment, than we created new jobs for the whole month for the whole country. Yeah, put those numbers together. We created 230,000 new jobs in August for the whole month, 230,000. But yet we have 350,000 people filing for unemployment every single week. New people. Yeah. And when you look at some of these articles, the restaurant industry created no new jobs last month. None. The restaurant industry is one of the largest. The food industry, the restaurant industry is one of the largest industries in the entire countries. They created no new jobs last month. Now it's changed to where overall people just aren't applying. Or few who do apply ghost them after interviews or quit before they even start working. In the food services industry specifically, payrolls declined by 42,000 in August. Last month, there were no new jobs created across the entire leisure and hospitality industry, according to the jobs report published on Friday. Again, no new jobs created across the entire leisure and hospitality industry. Yeah, in total, 235,000 jobs were added in the entire US, far below what they expected of 720,000 jobs in the entire country. Yeah. And in the food service industry, payrolls declined by 42,000 in August. Yeah. And honestly, if this trend continues, we could see September actually have negative amount of jobs created. Yeah, because if we just go back, June and July, they were supposed to create 1 million new jobs each month, and they missed, and then they missed again, and then August missed even worse, and the amount of new jobs was it's supposed to be going like this. It's supposed to be going up. We're supposed to be coming out of a pandemic. There's supposed to be more and more new jobs created. People are supposed to be going back to work. And that's with already half of the unemployment the unemployment boost numbers have already been gone because of the Republican states. 25 Republican states have already ended unemployment bonus money and the extra weeks of unemployment. Now, all the unemployment ends this weekend. For the rest of the states, more than 7 million Americans will lose the rest of their unemployment bonus money. But honestly, it really didn't help. It really didn't help with the half of the states have already lost their unemployment benefit bonus money. It really didn't help. We saw the tiniest uptick on unemployment. And remember that August numbers were worse than the month before. So if the trend continues, September jobs numbers could actually be negative. Negative. So even with this unemployment bonus money going away, you would think that would make people want to go back to work more or job seek more. But the problem is the pandemic is getting worse. Some people at least are scared to go back to work. And I mean, remember the leisure and restaurant industry created no new jobs last month. And that was with half the states already having unemployment benefits gone or unemployment bonus money. Yeah, the economy is in for a rough ride, guys. The economy is in for a rough ride. The only saving grace that is literally on the horizon is these next two packages. This next stimulus package, the largest stimulus package ever, and this physical infrastructure package. The physical infrastructure package is going to create a lot of jobs, but it's over time jobs. It's not, I mean, some of it's going to happen right away. But when they pass these next two packages, it's going to be a vitamin B shot for the economy, and it's going to put a lot of stimulus money in people's pockets, depending on what stimulus programs possible for a stimulus check, and what they put in these packages. So I will keep you up to date on this and Senator Joe Manchin and what the Democrats are going to put in this packages. So make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't yet. Remember, new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't miss out on any new videos at this point. Happy Labor Day weekends. I hope your Labor Day weekend is going great. So, and this video is our recent video where my wife was at the end of the video. It was our anniversary video. So click on one of those videos next, guys. Thanks, and I will see you in the next video.